In this video, I'm going to show you how to use urges to actually beat porn for good and have victory in this NoFap thing, starting with these 3 steps to figure out how to use urges to your advantage. And then I'm going to give you a bonus tip to actually take you from where you are right now to a place where urges are just not a thing for you. Sexual urges are just not a thing. I know you think that might not be possible, but it actually is. It works all the time. And that starts us with the first point, the goal. Okay, what is the ultimate goal for why you're doing this? Why you're doing NoFap? Why you're trying to quit porn for good? What is the actual goal? What is the metric of success that says that you have mastery over your porn recovery journey? Simply put, in basic terms, it's when you're able to scroll through the internet, see a triggery content, and not be aroused at all, to not even flinch, to not even budge, to not even have your wiener tinkled a little bit. It's basically you can go to the gym and not start seeing and ogling at women in unhealthy, unproductive ways, but actually see, get this, women as human beings and not just sexual objects. It's when you're able to spend time online and not constantly be triggered by sexual content and led down this rabbit hole of fantasizing and battling the addiction and battling the cycles, and battling the fantasizing, and eventually acting out with porn. So that's the ultimate goal, is to get you to a place where you are right now, to a place where you can just be okay with living in a world where there is sexual content all around us and you're just not affected by it. And that's where this bonus last tip is about, is actually take you from here to actually figuring out how to have no urges anymore. Number 2, urges equal hints. This is a very important concept for you to understand. When you do have an urge, you don't have to look at it as some little monster or troll that lives under your bed anymore that comes out every once in a while. It's not a nuisance anymore. When you think of an urge as a hint to identify why is it that you're feeling those urges. You know very well when the last time you felt a strong sexual urge to act out to watch porn, there was probably a stressor, an identifiable stressor or event or mind pattern or mentality that you had, or relationship or difficulty or stress in any area of your life that led you to feeling a desire to urge to act out sexually. You can identify that stressor in your life by figuring through the use of your urges. Next time you feel an urge, try to think back, try to figure out, try to write it down or talk to someone or pray about it, talk to God, figure out, why am I feeling this experience? What is the stressor here that's urging me to feel this need to act out sexually? There's some kind of stress. We found through studies actually that the biggest use of porn, the reason for porn use, is to alleviate negative emotions such as stress, such as anxiety, such as depression, such as boredom even. So you can figure out what is the actual stressor that you're experiencing, and address that stressor instead of focusing all of your energy of just with sheer willpower, willing yourself, grinding your teeth and gritting through the triggers and urges and just saying no. But how do you resolve it at the core so that this doesn't happen anymore? This is why some people are more susceptible to addictions and less good at having self-control than other people, is that people who have mastery over their emotions and mastery over identifying these stressors and figuring out how to address them in a healthy, productive way, those people have learned how to master porn. Those people have learned how to master their sex drive and their sexuality and direct it in a productive way. Typically, guys, this is why women, typically speaking, women are better at handling addictions. They're less susceptible to addictions because women, generally speaking, not everyone, women know how to find stressors, address them, talk about them, and release those stresses in a more productive way than just bottling it up and going to some addictive behavior like porn, which, if you haven't noticed, can take you instantaneously. Porn can take you out of a state of stress into a state of relaxation, into a state of temporary excitement, thrill, novelty, and releasing those stress in a very unproductive way. So next time you're feeling an urge, try to figure out what is the stressor, what led me here, and resolve that. And that's number 3, resolve the actual stressor you're feeling. If you can have the habit of identifying urges and turning those urges into hints as to why you're experiencing these negative emotions, these stresses in your life. And you might be thinking, well, I don't know what my negative emotions are. I don't know why I use porn. I just use it because I'm a sexual being. I'm visually stimulated and it's just the way it is. Guys, that's not the case, all right? This is the reason why you act out in porn It's because your brain is wired in a way that it wants to experience dopamine. It wants to anticipate some kind of sexual pleasure, some kind of sexual experience. And basically, every time you view porn, every time you even look at triggery content like on Instagram or social media, it's telling your brain is producing a chemical called dopamine that says this is anticipation for a sexual experience. This is exciting. This is what you're made for. This is essential to your survival. That's what you believe. Your brain is believing. But it's not. You've trained your brain to think that this is something that is essential for your survival, where in fact it is very much not, and is very much is a unproductive use of your chemical hormones. So this, my friends, is how you take yourself with your urges, with your triggers, with your relapses, back to the goal, which is to have no urges at all. How? It's essentially replacing the dopamine hit that you're experiencing through accessing porn and anticipating watching porn and feeling those feel-good pleasure sensors, and replacing that hit with actual dopamine hits or thrills, in other words, in your life that are actually good for you. The thing about pornography is that it is a thrilling, exciting experience. It's a novel experience. There are many reasons biochemically and neurologically speaking why we are addicted to porn and go back to pornography, but you can replace that unhealthy artificial thrill with things that are genuinely good for you. What I mean by this is you can replace any time that you feel the urge, if you feel this sexual temptation. This is the key, guys. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is the actual secret sauce here. When you feel those tempting situations, those triggers, that feeling in you that just feels like oh, I'm being led down this path. I'm being led down this rabbit hole to act out. I know the feeling. When you feel that, when you do see something that's triggery, when you see someone that's triggery, or you are scrolling and you see something, you can get up immediately, walk out the room, and do something that produces dopamine that is actually good for you. What is that? You can do something that affects your money, your health, or your sex. Okay, these are three areas that you can focus on. Do anything that produces, and try to figure out one thing that you can do. Let's say it's for money, something that advances your career, or something that advances your business, or start a business. This is what I encourage guys to do all the time. Just start something in business, and that will consume so much of your excitement and time and energy and dopamine that you won't need porn anymore. All right. Number two, if you do something that's good for your health, this is also your body telling you that this is something that is essential for your survival, right? Do a workout, do strength training, go on a run, go on a giant bike ride, do whatever it takes. Go cook a giant meal for your family, and do that immediately. Or number three, do something that is good for your relationships, that eventually requires you to have a genuine, real, not talking about porn, a real sexual relationship with a woman, such as working on yourself, preparing for marriage, working on your relationship with your spouse, working on your sexual relationship with your spouse, working on relationship with your family, even the people closest to you, also essential for our survival. Relationships. These are really key things that you can do. The key for you, I'm just giving you guys ideas. You have to figure out a thing you can do, identify it, put it on paper. I'm going to do this when I'm feeling urges. And that thing has to be your staple. And the more you do that, the more you're replacing the artificial dopamine hit of going to porn with something that is actually good for you. You will train your brain to the point where you see a triggered content, you don't associate that anymore inside your, and neurologically speaking, you don't associate that with sexual pleasure anymore. You don't associate that with sexuality. In fact, you associate it very strongly with something else that is actually really good for you. If this video is helpful, go ahead and hit the like button. Your next question is, how do you actually do this? How do you do the rewire? How do you not just understand the concepts of it? How do you actually take yourself out of where you are now into a more beautiful state? That's what this video is all about. My channel here is all about how to help you take through the stages of porn recovery and beat porn for good. It's good to have you. Take care.